my name's Sean Taylor, and welcome to Build a Great Club series. And today we're going to discuss sales, and we're going to discuss sales with another Sean. So it's Sean Square, Sean Frank, who is our Director of Operations for us here at Up to Par. And this is a fun-filled segment that we have, and as we go through this, what we'll talk about, this is really the lifeblood of a particular club. This is how clubs can pull themselves up, pull themselves up out of maybe some of the spots that they're in. And the same token, be able to create a much better experience for the membership and for the guests as a whole. Because nothing happens unless a sale is made, and that is absolutely unequivocally true.
It is so important. He said it can lift you up. Unfortunately, it can also be your anchor if you're not doing a good job at it.
Yeah.
That's why it is so important for every club to be great at sales.
Yeah. So 3 big things that we're going to discuss today, just 3. 1 is membership sales. 2 is your customer base, your as well as like the programming that you're maybe designing and implementing at your particular club. And then the last thing is group business, group and event business, and hopefully you're an active participant of that. So before we get started, I want to tell everyone a story. Okay, this is a great story because it's a great success story. So there was this club that was up in the Northern Virginia area that was running with the herd, and it was holding it back. And so what was happening is that we saw that their event and banquet business was kind of stagnating right around the $700,000, $800,000 range, but it was in a prime area. And unfortunately, what wound up happening is that they weren't living up to their sales potential. And so over the course of a 2 to 3 year time frame with a systematic plan in regards to the sales process, that club became the stallion that it was. It just wasn't a buffalo just running right with every other buffalo that was in that portfolio. It was the club that it was designed to be. It was the stallion that was out there. And what wound up happening is that club that was generating $700,000 in sales, in event sales, this past year generated
over 1.2 million.
Wow, $500,000 difference.
But the same sort of plan and the same sort of purpose, same thing with membership. It highest number of members in history of the club. So it doesn't matter. You have to have a plan, and you've got to have a process, and you've got to have sales that get specific and organized. And with that is how you pull yourself up.
So this particular club, kind of interesting, this particular club, which had roughly about a $500,000-$600,000 deficit each year to their operating plan, meaning they lost about $500,000 to $600,000 every year. This past year really came very close to breaking even, and it was a combination of increased sales and then operational efficiencies that went along with it. And ironically, the team that's there, the team is a fabulous team. They were very sales-centric, very sales-oriented, and then consequently, because of that, they pushed all of the buckets that we talked about, that we're going to talk about, membership, programming at the place, and then eventually, the group and the event and the weddings component of it. And they pushed all 3 really hard to be able to get us into that particular point. So, neat little story that's out there. One thing that we want to say for us is before you go into your season, you really have to set yourself up with a plan for success, a sales process, and that process needs to be really adhered to. And if the process is maybe cumbersome, or if it's not working, you need to adjust that process and make sure that you are essentially bringing in the appropriate amount of leads, and then those leads are eventually converting down into real customers. But before all of that happens, your club has to be organized. And when I say that from a club organizational structure, if you're expecting the general manager to lead the front on the sales side, then you're setting yourself up for failure. And generally, there's about a revenue breakthrough with that, a threshold.
Yeah.
Anything about $1 to $1.2 million.
And if your club's generating $1 million,
Yeah.
you need a sales professional, because your general manager is not going to be able to do everything that they need to be able to do
Mm-hmm.
and sell.
Yeah.
Sales will become an afterthought.
Yeah.
And when you're generating that much revenue, in order for you to make it, take that next step,
Right.
your general manager can't be focused on sales and won't be focused on sales. At that level, there's so many other things going on from a day-to-day perspective. Sales will become an afterthought, and then sales will sink you.
Yeah. No question about it. It really is the last thing that's done.
Absolutely.
If that's it. So we really do recommend, and one of our things that we embrace is as we come on a property, we onboard a property, we really look at the accountability chart of who was responsible for what and what is everyone doing. And if there's no one driving sales, or the answer is everyone is driving sales, then that means that no one is driving sales, because no one has that direct responsibility to be able to move that revenue coming into the door.
Yeah. And that person who's responsible has to have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important thing. You have to have a plan. Not just for sales. You have to have a plan for your property so that the person can sell your property.
Correct. So, in some of the other videos that we've done, we've talked about a one-page strategic plan. We've talked about this at the board and board dynamics and working with the different boards that we have the honor to work with each and every day, and putting together that one-page strategic plan. And really, when we're onboarding a property and we're looking at the objectives or the goals of that particular property, we try to break it down into a couple of buckets. One is just a straight operational bucket, operational excellence. What are we doing? Looking at that experience through the member, looking at experience through the guest, looking at that experience through the bride or any of the events that we're hosting on a day-to-day basis. The second part is making marketing work. And that's what we're talking about today. Making marketing work means, is the marketing that we're generating, is it directly generating revenue that can impact the club? And how are we going about tracking those marketing campaigns to the effectiveness of the sales that we are generating for the sales team and for the club as a whole? And then the third part is really, it all starts with people, all starts with teams. And teams are to a certain degree going to take a lot of the lead from the general manager that's there on property, as well as the management firm that oversees it. And so at each of our properties, what we're looking to do is we're really looking to be best places to work at all of our properties. So when we say Club X, that's up there in Northern Virginia, we want to be the best places to work in that particular area. And if we can do that as a company, then our associates are really engaged. And so, in the end, happy associates turn into
happy customers.
Happy customers.
So it becomes a three-pronged approach.
Yeah.
You have to have a product that people want to buy, right? So you've got to maintain your product.
Correct.
Got to make sure your club's nice. Got to make sure
Mm-hmm.
people want to buy your club. Got to be able to provide the people who are utilizing your club with an experience
Mm-hmm.
that is phenomenal. And that starts with happy people. And then once you have that, it becomes so much easier to market and sell your property.
Correct.
But if your property is not desirable,
Mm-hmm.
or your club's not desirable because you haven't done anything or kept up with it,
Mm-hmm.
and if your people are not providing good experience because they're not happy,
Mm-hmm.
then you can't sell it. You can't market it.
Yeah,
it's very
it's
difficult.
Absolutely difficult. So revenue drivers in the club scene, there's obviously there's membership, there's golf that goes along with it. There's food and beverage. Food and beverage can be broken up into a myriad of different ways of the restaurant revenue, as well as group and event revenue that is incredibly profitable if done well and done effectively for a club. There's tennis. Tennis does generate revenue, hopefully. There's spa, there's aquatics, fitness, there's all of that goes along with it. And so what we're going to talk about today is each of those department managers in our Make and Marketing Works bucket, as far as the operational goal, the objectives that we have for each of the clubs, has revenue targets. And so those objectives are followed up by tasks and followed up by plans underneath that to be able to support those particular revenue objectives that we've established. So let's say if you have a revenue target of $400,000 in the restaurant, so your food and beverage director, your food and beverage manager, your executive chef, they have specific tasks and targets that they're going to accomplish for you to get to that $400,000.
That's your plan. Your goal, $400,000. What are you going to do to push the needle to get to the $400,000? There needs to be specifics, and they're not all going to work. But you plan for multiple different things, multiple tries, because we're all tryhards. So they're gonna, and some of them are gonna stick, and some of them aren't. But if you don't try anything, you don't have a plan to try anything, then you're never gonna move. You're never gonna push the envelope. You're never gonna grow. You're never gonna be successful. Whether you like Tesla or not, Elon Musk has a saying. He comes up with hundreds of ideas every day. Maybe one sticks. You've got to. You can't change if nothing changes.
So each department manager has their revenue targets that they're trying to go after, and that gets us a way in which we can get the whole management team to row the boat all in the same direction. And then one of the aspects that for most of the clubs that are out there, it could be private, semi-private, even in the public sector, because maybe it's not classified as a membership, it could be classified as a player's card, is how do you drive more members to your property? What are some of the things that you're doing to drive more members to the property? And we really take this very seriously. You got to do the work. You got to do the research. You have to look at the demographics. You look at that 15-mile radius, because let's be honest with you, you're not traveling past 15 miles
to go play golf.
And to go join a club. That's going to happen infrequently. Let's say that's not the lion's share of your business. So you look at that 15-mile radius and you say, okay, who do I have in that 15 miles? That 15-mile radius. What's their average annual income per household in that 15 miles? Then I can drill down how many golfers are in that 15 miles with the different buckets of annual income, and then from there, then I could say, okay, well, how many competitors am I going against?
Exactly.
What are they doing? And
where do I fit in the competitive market?
Exactly.
You have to know everything. You need to do your research. You need to do your research on the customers, the competitors, pricing, volume. They all play together. There's only so much. If there's only enough volume to support enough rounds for one facility, and there are 3 in the area.
Yeah. What are you doing differently?
What are you doing differently to make sure that they're coming to you?
Absolutely. In one of the segments, we talked about board dynamics, and in that board dynamics, we really made a strong emphasis point of the culture of the board dictates the culture of the club. And if the culture of the board is toxic, the culture of the club is going to permeate throughout the entire club. And this is really an important point, because not only will it permeate also into the management team and also to the line staff, eventually it's going to permeate into the membership as a whole. This unequivocally makes it 1,000 times harder for you to sell a membership with that toxicity at that club. Vice versa, you have a choice, and you could be the catalyst for change for good, or just keep on going down the not the yellow brick road, another brick road. Okay, so when we say about membership is about bricks and mortar, is about the facility, no question about it. Facilities have to be upkept, and they got to be top notch. But in the end, membership is about relationships. And membership is about the bonds that members have together. A member has a much easier chance of selling, a much greater close rate of selling a friend of his or hers, or friends of the family, to become a member versus a general manager or something along those lines. In the end, like attracts like when it comes to memberships. And what we have found is that our best membership drives are, I want my family to associate with your family. I want my kids to swim in the pool with your kids. I want my kids to play tennis, to play golf, to do all the fun activities at a club with your kids. You know why? Because your kids are good kids. And I want my kids to hang out with good kids. And so memberships, in the end, really are about the relationship aspect of the club itself. It becomes the social hub, and really almost have to look at it as the club in general is third place. You got work, you have home, and you have the club.
Yeah.
Okay? And they need to be in that, they should be in that order, not club first or second or anything like that. You have work, or you have home, you have work, and then you have the club. So incredibly important. You have to do the homework, all of the details, and that's a given. And if you're not doing that, you need to give us a call, because we'll do that for you. And if your current management team is not doing it, you need to call up to par, because we do this. If you need help on the sales aspect of your club, we can help you with that as well. But to a certain degree, you have to understand what you are really selling. What you're absolutely selling, and then double down on that. Double down on the club's ability, their strengths, of what they do really well, and if they don't do something very well, don't put it in the brochure. If they do something very well, you know what? You gotta go all in with it, and that's how you're going to be able to attract more like-minded individuals and like-minded families to be able to move the needle for your membership drive.
It goes back to that three-pronged approach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like attracts like. If they enjoy it and they're having a good time, they're going to bring other people like them
Mm-hmm.
to the club.
Mm-hmm.
So if your people are delivering a good experience because they're happy, then your members will become part of your sales team.
Right. Now, the guru of all gurus, I'm sitting next to him when it comes to all of a sudden we got leads, we got prospects, we have, and following up. Walk us through it, because I know you do this with all of our sales teams, and you do this really, really well. And this is how you've moved, that needle from it to be a buffalo to a stallion. So how have you done that?
So there isn't just one magic bullet.
Uh-huh.
I'll start with that. There's so many things that you have to do. And it starts, I'll go back to the very basics again. It starts with your team delivering a great experience to people that are coming. That is first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
If they have a great experience, they're likely to write about it. So then your team needs to get them to write about it. And you need to get out there,
Mm-hmm.
number one. So then somebody else reads about this amazing experience that somebody else had.
On like a review site.
On like a review site. It could be anywhere. It could
Not
be on
Wedding Wire or something like that.
It could be on whatever, any of those social media posts.
Facebook.
Facebook.
Google.
Yeah. You got
You name it.
You name it. You name it. If it's out there, somebody's going to find it when they're looking for an event space. And if it's bad, they're probably not coming to you.
Yeah.
It's got to be good. So your operations team has to deliver that experience. It's even better if they have a personal experience that they write about. Because then the next person feels like not only am I going to have this amazing experience, but it comes with this amazing person and personal connection that I'm going to have too. Once you have those, then so you've delivered a great experience, you've gotten them to write an awesome review, now you start getting leads. Now you get people coming in the door without you having to go find them, right? They're coming in the door, your leads are funneling in. Then it's, what's my conversion rate? How many leads do I have coming in? And how many am I converting? But even more than that, it's why are the people who are saying no saying no? If you're not tracking why people are rejecting you
Mm-hmm. And learning from it.
Mm-hmm. And trying to change, then those objections will always be there. So you have to find out what the objections are to the sale.
Yep.
And then you have to have a salesperson who's hungry. You've got to have a salesperson who's hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Salespeople, if they're not, maybe this is a little materialistic, they should be motivated by money, because the more they sell, the more money they make, right? So they better be motivated by money.
Right.
And they need to ask for the sale. And if they need to ask for the sale, they need to give printed material. People need to, if they don't book on the spot, you need to ask them to book on the spot. If they don't book on the spot, they better be leaving with a written proposal.
Yeah.
So that they can make a decision. They need to have a nice, well put together folder, whatever, binder
Mm-hmm.
with your material and customized to them, a custom proposal to what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes for anything. It could be membership. Hey, I don't want, we have this social membership and a golf membership
Mm-hmm.
and an all-inclusive membership. Mm-hmm. And if they're meeting with your sales director for a membership, it's the same thing. They should be walking
Mm-hmm.
with information. They should be walking with a proposal. They should be reading material online.
Mm-hmm.
The most important thing is, when you're trying to attract people digitally too, is getting in front of the right people. You can get in front of a lot of people, but if you're not getting in front of the right people,
right,
then your conversion rate's just going to get lower and lower and lower. You're going to have all these people coming in, but they're going to be rejecting you. So your sales to rejection ratio is going to be really, really low. So how do you make sure you're getting in front of the right people? Well, let's talk about Facebook, for example. Just as a basic example. I just got engaged.
Mm-hmm.
I post on my Facebook page, just got engaged.
Uh-huh.
I didn't really just get engaged. But so, did you know you could target to them? Just got engaged.
Mm-hmm.
I want everybody who just got engaged. Just little things.
Hashtag just got engaged.
Where's my competition?
Right.
Oh, where's their membership located?
Right.
Oh, maybe I'll mail their membership. Maybe I'll mail their members' membership stuff.
Right.
You've got to get creative, and you have to know that you have a plan, you're creative, and you're targeting the right people. Because we can have a ton of information out there. It's not getting to the right people, then we're not going to get any leads, or the leads that we're going to get are going to be crappy. Mm-hmm. And then your salesperson is going to be able to convert no matter how hungry they are. And even when you are getting in front of the right people, you're not for everybody. Nobody's for everybody. So right. People are going to say no, but why are they saying no? Mm-hmm. And then being able to maybe alter things so that the people who are saying no, maybe you can get a percentage of those objections to become positives.
So in the end, there's a plan.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to be a plan.
There's a plan. There's a tremendous amount of thought process that goes behind that plan. It's not like you're doing this by the skin of your, by the seat of your pants.
I wish. No, I'm kidding.
It's systematic. You have a CRM that you're putting all this great information. There's a digital road or a digital trail that's associated with that. So you can do all of the things. You can follow up in a timely fashion. You can talk to the desired person, your core customer that you want to talk to. And so at the club, the thing that we're really selling memories. We're selling memories, we're selling experiences. And the operational aspect of it has a responsibility and obligation to uphold, to be able to develop and really propel those memories and propel those experiences, make them exceptional. And we talk about this a great deal with all of our operational teams. We're grateful for the person that said, I want to do X with us. I want to spend my discretionary income with this particular club. And by doing that, you know what? We have that opportunity for us to live our purpose, and that purpose is to positively impact others. And so when you look at it and you take a couple of steps up, you go up the staircase, and you look at it from that perspective. It really, sales is making sure that we are doing everything that we said that we were going to do, and we do it in a fashion that is better than what they could have expected to. When it comes to membership and not only just selling memberships, but also driving your daily usage. When you say daily usage at a club, that really means it's the programming aspect of the club, and what are you doing as a management what are you doing as a management company or as a management team to be able to drive daily usage. And that's probably one of the things that we saw at your club is that, what they did at your place, they did at this place, they did at this place, they did at this place. It was just like copy and replace at every single place. And you know what, to a certain degree, you can't just do that because, when you look at it as a whole, every club is different.
People are different.
Every nuances is different, and you can't just cookie cutter it and take that cookie cutter approach and say we're going to do this because it worked at one club and we're going to put it in yours. That doesn't fly because each club has its own unique perspective, has its own membership, and has its own demographics.
It's got its own board, its own expectations.
Exactly. So different. So programming is really an effective way in which you can drive your daily usage. And so your department managers and your general managers are all working in lockstep together. And hopefully they're for us, we include this in onto the boards. We let them know, hey, this is the event calendar for the year. This is the event details for the year, so that the boards can participate at the events for one, and help drive some of the usage. And it's great to see an event and see ample board participation at a particular event. But in the same token, they can be the mavens that are in the membership to say, hey, are you coming to to the beef bourbon and Scotch dinner tomorrow night? Or are you coming or any of these 666 tournament? Are you coming to that? So programming aspect of it is so important to drive just overall utilization of the property. And we'd like to see, an aggressive event calendar. We'd like to see, a lot of events that are happening, but they need to be good events so that the people and the members and the guests that are participating in those events, the experience is second to none. So one aspect of the programming that we do recommend, and do we do it at every single program? No, but we do recommend this, is not everybody plays golf. Not everybody swims, not everybody works out, not everybody plays pickleball, not everybody plays tennis, but you know what we all do? We all eat. So in the end, if you can incorporate the food and beverage component of it, you're going to be able to make that particular event maybe a little bit wider in scope. You're going to increase your funnel slightly more because you may be able to bring in non-golfers, non-tennis, non-workout, non-swim, non-whatever, horseback riding into the fold. And when you do that, food and the culinary component is really important because it's so incredibly personal. The food side is more personal than hitting a solid 4-iron. I'm telling you, it is, because everyone has a different opinion on what the perfect meal is. Everybody knows what a good solid 4-iron feels like and looks like and should come off the club face. But everyone, in the end, you want to try to incorporate that food aspect of things. The last component that we're going to talk about is group and event business. So we talked about membership, and we talked about daily usage of the club, and the events and the groups really can move the needle on it. This is the club's opportunity for them to maybe price their menu in the restaurant at a different price point. We all know that at every single club, we all have received oh my goodness, $24 for a fillet. And you think to yourself, wow, if I charge you what I should charge you, you would really scream off the highest balcony. And the way that we're able to charge $24 for a fillet in the dining room, and it could be for 6 or 8 ounce. It really doesn't matter.
Or 4.
It really doesn't matter if you're getting good fillets. Is through the profitability aspect of selling weddings and banquets. The thing about the wedding business is you have to be all in. You can't go in just with your toe. You have to commit yourself to the wedding component of the business, else you will never generate the weddings that you should be able to generate at your particular property. And yes, all of the rage is the barn weddings, and all of the rage is these, out in the middle Pinterest type of moments, in some sort of feel with bugs flying everywhere. But in the end,
weddings happen everywhere.
Let's face it. They do. And you take your area and where it is, and I guarantee you this Saturday, you have 50 people getting married somewhere. And so you have 50 opportunities for you to be able to move the needle at your particular property. One wedding event can translate into 3 or 4 members worth of dues for the entire year. So you really think about think about that. It's one night, one day worth of events compared to 3 or 4. Now, if you got 3 or 4 members, that's icing on the cake.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like a great night.
Exactly. So.
But the other thing is, some of those people are going to live in your area.
Yes, they will.
Those are potential members.
They certainly are.
Especially if they're paying for a wedding at your club, and they think you're a great club, great enough to have the single most important day of their lives at.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They're a potential member. So you have all these people that didn't travel from out of town to come to the wedding, right? That are prospects, membership prospects, that you now can showcase your club to. So build a great club, host events, sell your memberships to the events.
That's right. That's one of them.
Right? But you got to make sure they have a good experience. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got operational excellence. It doesn't cost any money to give good service. It doesn't cost any money to be nice to somebody. It doesn't cost any money to make sure that you cook their steak the way they want it.
Right.
Yes, it costs money to staff it. Yes, it costs money to buy the steak. But to deliver the actual service and to be nice and to care about people and to, this goes along with the whole enchilada, okay? It's what you expect of your people. It's what your purpose is, what your core values are, what your game plan is, getting them in there, living your purpose and your core values, and making sure that people have a good time, because then their potential customers, again and again, their potential members, everybody isn't people. Sometimes we get very narrowly focused on things, and we're saying, okay, this is it. But there's so many connections in life and in this business that you don't want to miss out on a potential.
Absolutely. So we threw a lot at you today, and this is all really good stuff. Sales is a lot of fun. We thoroughly enjoy the sales aspect of building a great club. So in summary and kind of conclusion of the things that we discussed, we did discuss about creating that plan. It's got to be systematic. There's got to be a process. Somebody has to have the responsibility of that particular process. And, we vehemently believe if you're at a certain threshold on revenue, that you really need to make the investment for a sales professional. Can't be the GM, can't be the food and beverage manager. That'll be the last thing that happens. When you're selling your memberships, you got to do the research. You got to do the dirty work. You got to muddy through all of the data that's out there. And then when you're doing all of those objectives, the department managers for the programming, you're setting those objectives. And once those financial really kind of benchmarks that they're going after, and what's the plans that support those particular benchmarks. And it all rolls up into that strategic club plan that's there. And you have to deliver. You have to deliver on the experience. You got to deliver on the service, and you got to deliver. And to deliver, you have to deliver twofold. Your management team has to deliver to the associates that work there, as well as the associates have to deliver to the members and the guests that are there. So it's this great circle where if the management team, you've got good quality management that are really embracing the positivity of running a club, it's going to show. When I walk on property you walk on property, you can instantly get the vibe of how is the place doing based upon the attitude of the entire staff that's there. And then the final thing is the group and event business and how important that is to be able to move the needle and move that needle in a positive way to take a club that maybe loses a couple $100,000 in a given year to making a couple of $100,000 in a given year. But in the end, sales is about relationships. Sales is about relationships and experiences and memories. And so your sales team is always going to do business with somebody that they know. The only way that you're going to know someone is you got to make that effort to get to know someone, and then two, that they can that they trust that they're going to deliver, and to a certain degree, all of those reviews are just incredibly important because that's the verification, that trust. And then someone that they like. When is the last time that you have bought something off of somebody that you don't like? It's been a while. And if you did, you probably kicked yourself in the tuchus for it. So really, it's somebody that you know, that you like, and that you trust. And so in the end, sales is about relationships, and you're selling that experience, and the experience has to come through in an exceptional fashion. So I know we've thrown a lot at you. This has been a lot of fun for us.
Absolutely.
To do this. And so I'm Sean Taylor, Sean Frunk.
Sean Frunk, get your club up to par. Build a great club with us.
That's right. And you've been watching How to Build a Great Club.